to build, to test, and to, what's the word? Deploy, if that's the right word. Yeah, and to deploy. So to deliver a fast technology, reliable, friendly environment. I think that's what we've been learning from day one. I hope that helps.
What are some of the tools that you've learned and used
I've,
to accomplish that?
I've used the AWS platform, and I've used the Docker, I've used the Terraform, I've used what's the other one? ECS, and I've used GitHub.
Okay. So what did you
Yeah.
use the tools for?
I use those tools to what should I
So
use?
like for example,
To
you
deploy.
you mentioned AWS. What did you use it for?
Yes. I use AWS to push, no, yeah, to push and deploy my softwares. Mm, yeah, what else? Mm,
So it looks like the lady behind you is now looking at you. No, I'm just kidding. That would be like
yeah.
like an horror movie or something. They say, "What?" She's looking at you saying, "Okay, what? What's next?" Yeah. That's yourself, yeah.
Right. Mhm. And also, I also learned automation, how to automate and testing and all that stuff. Yeah.
So what did you use to automate? For automation, what
Uh,
tools did you use? Or have
for
you used so
automation,
far?
I used what's the name of the I've used the public subnet, and I've used the dark no, Terraform, and what did I use again? Yeah, I used Terraform. What's the tree mean? Wait, I think I have it somewhere. Yeah, Web UI. That's the word I was looking for.
You use what?
I use the web. Is it Web UI? Web UI,
Okay.
Terraform, and Web UI, Terraform, and one more. Hmm. Web UI, Terraform, and something else. And is it Docker? Docker, yeah, Docker. Web UI, Terraform. There's one more. Hmm. One more. I remember I still have one more. Hmm. I don't remember the last one again.
Okay, that's fine.
Hmm.
That's it.
Yeah, so far. I know there is one more, but I forgot. Oh my God. Let me check my name. Okay, sorry, it's Node. I use Node, Flask, Docker, GitHub. Yeah, I forgot the Flask, the Node JS, and the Node and the Flask. Yeah, I saw
Okay.
that on my
All
notes.
right,
Mhm.
that's good. And thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
All right. Uh awesome. Who's gonna be next?
let me so far for me, um, what I've learned, it's how how to uh, build an application or spin an application and build application target and push it or deploy it to a remote service first. In version one, we just tested the application locally on our machine, running the application, or the application was listening to port 3000 on our system. So accessing the application, we would go to HTTP localhost, no, HTTP ://localhost 3000. That's the port where the on our system that the applications listening to. And then in version 2, we implement 3 services using a container, using Docker container. And those 3 services, we add Flask, Flask API, and Node API, and the web UI, using connecting to a private network. And then in version 3, we actually now push that application to a remote repository on cloud platform AWS. And then in version 4, we implemented some level, well, not some level, we implemented monitoring and try to gain some visibility now into that application that we deployed, where we were able to implement Prometheus to gather metrics. And when we talk about metrics, just the health of the application. When you deploy an application, that's not all of it. You want to make sure that the application is running the way it's designed to, it was built to. It meets a certain baseline. And we also use Grafana connected to Prometheus to make the metrics collected by Prometheus. Grafana would give us a visualize, make us to be able to visualize the metrics. And then, of course, we also, lastly, we used Alert Manager to send alerts to, which will help to send alerts to DevOps engineers.
Anything else, Edmund?
I'll stop there. I could go into some details using the different tools that we use, but I don't really want to make it too long.
Yeah, this is fine, and thank you for sharing all of that, and thanks to Marie as well. Germany she just stepped out for a few moments, I think. So let's go to the not to sorry about that. Let's go to this here. So this is pretty much what you guys have shared. So you've shared this, and you all can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've touched at all of this, and which is great. Which is really Really great. See if I can make it fit on one screen. Probably not. Yeah. So Marie, you mentioned automation. What are the tools that you use for automation? What have we used so far to automate any process?
No, we use Terraform.
So we use Terraform. That would be part of IAC, and IAC stands for what?
That's the infrastructure as code.
Yes, that's exact. That's right. That's correct. So we've used the IAC, and in particular, we've used Terraform, right? Because there are other tools that you can use for that, like Pulumi and so on. But Terraform is the most popular, and then Terraform belonged to a company known as HashiCorp. HashiCorp was purchased by IBM not long ago. So IBM has been purchasing and buying these big companies and so on. And I had a chance to, yeah, I had a chance to meet some of the people from HashiCorp in Ohio last year because they were most of these people were like making presentations to one of the federal agencies that IBM supports, and it was very fascinating to see, to just talk to these people. It's and these companies, they like worth 2 to about 6 or 10 billion US dollars. You see how much money people pour into this stuff. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy what I mean. How much money Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT make a month? Claude, I think they signed a contract with the same with Google. They signed a contract with one of Elon Musk's companies because Elon Musk now has, he's probably the only person on this planet to have so much data that AI can feed on because of his electric cars, self-driving cars, and so on. People using devices or portable devices from his companies, and so everything that even sending or requesting access to an application, that's data. So somebody is I mean, you send a request, you click, you're sending data to the server that is hosting that specific application. Like you guys connecting with me today, you have sent data to Zoom, and I'm using 2 video applications right now. So I have Ecamm, which is a separate company, and then my Ecamm is connected to Zoom. How do you think? I mean, let's say a 10-year-old kid comes to you and says, "Okay, so how does Ecamm, your instructor's video app that he's using, is connecting to Zoom? What are we using to connect to separate or 2 systems or applications? How do they talk to each other?" And we covered that as part of versions 1 through 4. Say it again.
They connect using IP addresses.
IP addresses, that's for the servers hosting those applications. So for like Ecamm, which is an application, right? It's not a computer. Zoom is an application, right? So Zoom talks to Ecamm using what Marie and Edmund you mentioned at the beginning of your sharing. You remember when you talked about building apps, and then you went on to say services. What were those 3 services that we built? You see, there's Node
API, Node
Yeah.
API, and the web UI.
What's the meaning of API? What does it stand for?
Application programming interface.
Yeah. That's what you use to allow 2 applications to communicate. It's an interface. So, so the thing is, the Zoom, like in my case, Ecamm wanted to connect to Zoom, right? So Ecamm will request an endpoint or an API, right, from Zoom to begin talking to Zoom. So just keep that in mind. So APIs are very important. And when we go to version number 5, we'll begin looking at Kubernetes and so on. Kubernetes is all about APIs. So almost everything on the cluster operates in terms of API. Just like your computer. Everything that you have on your computer, it's a file. I mean, did you know that? So application is a file. Everything that you have on your computer is a file. And then on the Linux side, everything, including directories, they are just a file. So everything that you see on your computer, behind it, there is a code, there's a file defining that application. Does that make sense? So automation would be IAC. That's number 1. What else? What else have we used to build, create, provision, or even destroy? What else did we use?
GitHub.
Said GitHub.
Docker.
Yeah, GitHub has something to do with that. You're saying Docker? I mean, how?
And,
How did we use Docker to automate?
because it packages and it deploys.
Okay.
Like we do the packaging with it and we deploy.
So how did we define that packaging? Just using your word here.
Containers, or I think it's containers.
Yeah, we use Docker containers for what? Say more about that.
Yeah, we use containers to there's a word for it.
So you remember this is version number 2, right? So version number 1, we did not build anything technically. I mean, we did using npm, right? Command. So we ran that command, and then we built that application locally, right? And then we test it locally. And then the second version, that's when we decided to use Docker, right? And the question is, how did we package that application, and why did we even need to use Docker? And these questions that I'm asking you these questions as a hiring manager, because I need you to master this concept. Because you remember, whatever we do next will be built upon some of these technologies. Yeah. Go ahead.
So we use Docker application to package everything into container.
Uh-huh. That's good. So we package that into a container. We package, we wanted to containerize. That's kind of like the word. So we wanted to containerize an application. And now the question is, how did we do that?
In other, I think we push, no, yeah, is that using the right
Yeah,
word?
before pushing.
Before pushing, we deploy. Is it deploy? What's the word again? Lord. Hey,
What
Marie.
about Docker file?
We use the Docker.
We use the Docker file
We
to
use
do
a
that.
Docker file and using the command Docker compose.
Right. We of course we use Docker Compose. We use Docker file. So let's start with Docker file. I mean, why did you do? I mean, what is it made of? Made of a Docker file.
The Docker file, I think, is made up of the three services: the Flask API, Node API, and the web UI.
Okay. So a Docker file, it's a file that you write to define how you want to build your image. Okay. So the first thing that you do on a Docker file is to begin first by getting or pulling an image. Remember, your application operates like a very small computer. All right, that's an application, so it needs to, it's gonna need packages. It's gonna need so it's very like, it's almost like a tiny a mini computer that only has one application, and you allow it to interact with the rest of your environment or the rest of the world, right? Because you can create an application, and even though you host it on your system, of course you're gonna need to host it on a server or a system, but it doesn't interact with anything else on your system, right? It only interacts with people in Australia, people in Ghana, or people in Nigeria, or the Congo. So you're gonna have to define that. But how do you do that? You do it using a Docker file, right? So, okay, first of all, I'm gonna pull an image, because you can't have an application without having an image. You need some type of image if you want to containerize that application, right? Version number 1, we build our application on our local machine, and we didn't want to containerize it. Because we didn't want to containerize it, then we did not need to use Docker. But we went to version number 2. That's when I introduced Dockerfile to you guys, and Docker itself. So, and also I explained to you why we need to do that. And why do we even need Docker? So that's my question to you.
Yeah, so basically with what you said, then we need Docker to pull image and build layers. But on my notes, I saw, I don't know, base image and pull image. Is it the same thing?
Yeah, but base image, that's what you need. And then you as you mentioned, Marie, layers. We're gonna first, you have your base image, and then you start adding layers as desired. And those layers could be run a command. Those layers could be, for example, open a port, okay? Those commands could be get these packages from this place, or it could be copy packages, libraries from, and then put them in here. All right. It could be anything you want. So, but these are the kind of like the steps. The standard steps would include number one, pull a clean image from some registry. Remember, images reside on registries. Okay. And this registry could be anything, hosting those base images. And then once you get it, then you tell you using your Docker file, you're gonna tell your system to say, okay, so once you get this image, this is what I want you to do. First, you create a directory, and then you're gonna copy packages that come with maybe that image that I have pulled from some place like Nginx. That's a web, I would say web. What can I
UI?
call Nginx? You have Nginx and Apache. Those would be like web based places where you can go get scripts, code for building web applications. So you say, okay, from. That's why we start always with from. Okay, from. Then you specify where you're gonna get it from, and then after that, you just add layers. So is that clear? So does that make sense to everybody? This is how you have to understand things. And then the reason why I'm asking you questions, because I want you to begin telling your brain that this is how you should understand this concept. Because if your brain, let's say your brain tells you to use these words to define what we have done so far, you're going to remember that. You're going to always remember it because it's going to become your story about the understanding of these concepts. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's technically what we'll be doing today. I want to push you to a point where you're going to begin using your own words through thinking so that you can kind of like own the understanding and mastery of these concepts. Because if you just rely on my notes, you will forget. But if you rely on your notes, you'll never forget. All right, so Docker is, we use Docker file. And then after you define your Docker file, what do you do with that file? How do you use it?
You use it to build layers on top of images, like you said.
Yeah, you use to build.
Mm-hmm.
To build what? Layers on top of
Layers
images?
of images.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Layers, you define them on your Docker file. But you use Docker commands, or you use that Docker file by running Docker commands to build what else?
That
Did you say tag?
push. Yeah.
Yep, tag and push.
And push.
So you see, that's kind of like the progression, right? So first you write your Docker file, then you use Docker commands to build, tag, and run. So those Docker commands will be applying the Docker file, right? And what would be a prerequisite to make those Docker commands run? What could be one or two prerequisites to make those commands run successfully?
Is it Python?
Yeah, good guess. Yeah. No wrong answers,
No.
but yeah, keep talking.
Node, NODE, and AWS.
Okay. Admin. What could be one or two prerequisites to make those Docker commands run successfully?
Oh no, it's wait, Flask Web and Flask Web and something else. Flask Web and something else. Flask
Your
Web.
Docker has to be, your Docker has to be, your
Flask Node Web.
Docker should be up and running.
Yep. So first, you're gonna have to make sure that Docker is installed.
Yeah.
And then secondly, make sure that Docker is running.
Oh.
So before you do anything else, anything in IT, in any given environment, and if whatever you want to do will require using applications, you have to make sure that those applications are installed, right? And they are up and running. It's like Zoom.
Yeah,
How would you use Zoom if you have not installed Zoom on your computer? It's kind of like it's the same logic there.
I think what Mari was missing was when they say you're running the commands, you have to remember that you're running the commands on a different application, which is you're running it on your Virtual Studio Code.
Oh.
Yeah, so if you know that it's running there, then what's needed for that command to actually run?
That means, okay, I get it. That means, yeah, I was off. Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to automation. Automation here. So we've talked about Terraform, which is an IAC tool. What else do we use to automate? How do you write your Docker file? What do you use to write your Docker file? You use scripting, right? So scripts, they help you automate. Remember, the provisioning of ECR, provisioning of ECS, we've used scripting, right? Bash shell script. You can use Python. You mentioned Python. You can use Python here to do that. You can use Bash shell to also accomplish the same thing here, and etc. Yeah. Okay. So you have IAC, infrastructure as code tool, for automation. You have scripting for automation. And when the time comes, we will be adding, we'll talk about CI/CD. And CI/CD is continuous integration and continuous deployment or delivery. And Marie, you said also GitHub for automation. So that would be only CI/CD. So that's what we call GitHub Actions. That's a tool that used for that. Okay. Any questions about automation? So automation, we've talked about CI/CD. We've talked about IAC. Okay. and we've talked about scripting. So we've talked about these things here. 1, 2, 3. So those are kind of like your main tools that you have used throughout this program to automate your the provisioning of your infrastructure and automate anything as part of your daily work. So I have used the scripting, which includes Python. I've used the Bash shell script to do that. I've used infrastructure as code, and specifically Terraform, and I've used also CI/CD. Questions? So that will be it for automation. So I'm gonna clear this so that it's out of the way. Okay, so also you talked about, I think it was Marie, cloud. What have you learned about cloud? And specifically AWS, because that's our focus. It's part of this program. What have you learned about cloud?
Sure.
What did we do with AWS so far? What kind of
Okay,
services have
cloud.
we talked about and used?
So if I remember, it says I've learned about using like cloud computing to save, to help business and individual to store their, like a storage, to store their and manage their data or whatever. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's
So,
cloud.
well, what services have we used so far?
I've used AWS and
What services have we used
So
on
we used
AWS?
so we've used IAM.
Mm-hmm.
We did
IAM.
use we used
IAM stands for what again? What does IAM stand for?
Identity Access Manager
Identity Access Management.
Management. Yeah, and we've used Elastic Container Registry, which is where
ECR.
we deployed. Yeah, that's where we deployed our image.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've used Elastic Container Service. It's our ECS.
Mm-hmm.
And we used EKS.
EKS just a little bit, yeah. And what else?
Yeah.
What else did we create on AWS?
We also, so in the process of when we deployed our image to ECR, in that process, we had to create a table to log our image using DynamoDB.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so a database. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Database service, yeah. What else? DynamoDB, that's what we call non-SQL database. So it doesn't use the strict tables
rows,
and those
rows and
traditional
columns.
SQL require, services require. So
Just like a
DynamoDB is,
relational management database.
yeah, DynamoDB is very good for like financial reports. Like somebody subscribes, somebody makes a payment, because they may make a payment using Australian currency. They may make a payment using a European, what's that money again? Euros or whatever. They may use something from Zimbabwe, something, and then the names will be different. And so they are not following some structured pattern approach. So it's very not it's not conforming to that. So that's why I use DynamoDB and so on. And what else? What about S3?
That's three about, yeah. Oh God.
What did we use that for? I mean, so far. Oh, Jermaine is back. Welcome back. So all of the questions will be just for you now.
We
So what have we used S3 buckets for, based on what we have done to this point? So far we've used S3
the image.
buckets for the state file. You remember when we used Terraform? That's where we
Yeah.
stored our state files, right?
That's,
So for so besides S3, what else have we used? What have we created to this point on AWS? What about VPC? What is VPC?
Virtual private cloud.
Yeah, and what does that mean? So you're gonna realize that we created first, VPC. It's like your piece of land that you borrow for free, actually for free from AWS. You don't pay for VPCs, and I think you can have up to how many VPCs? Maybe 8. I don't know. I don't remember. Meaning that you can have up to that number of virtual private clouds. And when you say private, it's private, it's yours. It's like a private piece of land. And then virtual, it's not physical, right? So it's virtual. And you decide on how big this VPC can be or this land should be. And when you look at the scripts that we've done or we have used to this point to create a VPC, we've used something known as a CIDR. CIDR, that's, let me see if I can find something here quick. Let me see here. Just give me a moment. Quick. So it's gonna be Versal. Shouldn't be sign up. Should be me. Continue. So I'm gonna share something here quick. So the project ECI, yeah, this is the one, right? Yeah. I'm gonna show you something, and I'll share this in the link on Slack actually. Give me a moment here, so it should be okay. Entire screen. All right, so you all can see my screen here.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll do this. Versal.app. That's a website where you can deploy your applications for free. You know, anything that comes free comes also with limitations, right? There's always a price to for free stuff. So I use that, and then you can deploy your application, and then you can get a kind of like a random URL to share with everybody. So I'm gonna go ahead and share it in the messages here. So if you just click on it, so it's gonna be a link. It's fine. So just click on it, and then you're gonna get to my. This is an application that I created like, yeah, when was that? Maybe a year or 2 years ago. Yeah, I created at the beginning of this year. So it's a CIDR visualization. So let's go back here. So we're here. If you click, you should be able to see it also on your system. Do you all see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yes.
it's just my own my own thing. I'll be working for anybody, and then I'll just type this in. This will give you an idea of how you can define the size of your VPC. Okay. So like if you go here to the CIDR tool, what this does, let me click here. This page shows, yeah, I need to fix that. Sorry. All right, so let's focus on this one here. So the point is a CIDR number gives you the size or defines the size of your entire virtual, private cloud. So like if you do, let's say you do 10 dot 25.0.0. So it gives you all of this information here. So, and of course, you're gonna do a net mask here. So let's say 8. So net mask here, that's as a net mask. And it also helps, each block here is an octet. Okay, and remember we're talking about binaries. All right, so on each octet you have like 8
bits.
Yeah, 8 bits. So I'm not a networking guy, but this gives you an idea of how you can slice your I mean, if you go with this here to define the size of your VPC, then this is what you get. This is what you're gonna get. So when you see here like IP count, this is the number of IP addresses you can use. So let's say, and you can change. So the company that you work for, they'll be the one deciding on this one here. That's kind of like your network section. So they're gonna decide, okay, this is, we go by this, and you will not be hired as a network individual, because I'm not training you for that. Okay, so don't worry much about this, but you need to be familiar with how you can slice your thing. I need to fix the see some errors, so I'll work on it. I need to update it at some point. So this is kind of like what I wanted to share with you. But the point is, when you have your CICD, you have your CIDR, you're gonna define how many IPs, the number of IPs. That's the number of systems that can connect to your network. So it's like you have a piece of land, and then you're gonna decide how many properties you wanna build on that piece of land. So is it going to be ECS? Is it going to be EKS? Is it going to be whatever you want to be? You want to use the depending on your goals and vision and mission and so on. Okay, before I move on, any questions about VPC? After you define the size of your VPC of your land that you want to borrow from Microsoft Azure, for Google, for Oracle, Alibaba, or AWS, after you do that, then you're gonna decide, okay, so how do I organize my resources? So this is where you use subnet. Okay, so you're gonna slice. You logically slice your VPC, and then you're gonna each slice will be like a subnet. Then you have to decide, is it going to be private or public? So you have public and private subnets. Public subnets, this is where you host resources that will be exposed to the public. Okay, private subnets, this is where you host things that you don't want people to see over the internet. And there are other resources that we have also created. When we talk about EKS in more depth, we're gonna review this again. So we have talked also about security groups. Okay, security groups, and we're gonna review that next week when we look at EKS. What is a security group? Does anybody remember? All right, Jermaine, Edmund, and Marie were just waiting for you to come back and say, hey, come to our rescue. So what is security group? What is it for everybody? I was just teasing you. But
It's a AWS. That's basically a virtual firewall. They control the traffic.
that's good. Well, Edmund, Marie, she came to your rescue. All right, so
Thank you.
she's just come to your rescue. Okay, so it's a firewall for AWS, and then you define I mean, what do you use firewall for?
Firewall.
What is it for?
It's a
And it's okay. All what we're doing, it's open books, so you can Google, you can research for it when somebody's talking, and this is how you learn and master your skills. Why is it that lady behind you, Marie, doesn't look at us? I don't know why.
Huh?
The lady behind you, she doesn't look at us.
That's Marie right there. It's just my photo.
I'm just thinking that what if she could turn her head like this? So
Oh my God. I will run.
So everybody will be like, in the name of Jesus. But that's a prayer out of fear. But yeah. Oh God. That would be crazy, right? I mean, with
Yes.
AI,
Oh
you
my
can make
God, that's not
things
normal.
like on Zoom, you
Mhm.
can make it happen with AI.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can tweak something, and you need to be virtually connected though, because it
Yeah.
won't be real. So her head will like look up and then turn right, and then Marie is just she's gonna pass out, I think. All right. So somebody was saying
So,
something. Who
so
was that Jermaine? Okay, go on.
Yeah.
saying that security group it control the traffic in a sense that it can it is define who talks inside like who can talk to who inside the VPC and pretty much controlling the inbound outbound traffic for AWS.
Yeah, that's just good answer. Anybody else?
Provide
Yeah.
provides
Even
stateful inspection. So on
Okay.
the VPC.
Okay.
okay. In a nutshell, it decides like who you can allow to reach certain part of your servers in a way.
Your resources. Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
So security group. I mean, you define what type of traffic comes in and goes out of your
Out.
resources, and also, I mean, how. So you have the protocol, you have the port that you're gonna need to open, right? Because for somebody to come into your house, you need to open a port, right? The door. So you're gonna specify that this door will never use it for guests. And when they come in, there are some uh, areas of your house where you wouldn't allow anybody to go in, right? Yeah, they can come in and sit in the living room, depending on your relationship and trust that you've built between you and that specific person. Then you're gonna decide, okay, they can. I mean, this person can come even to my bedroom
Right.
because
Can
that's
reach that
my
boundary.
brother or my sister. We can play, and that's my daughter, and uh, but there are some other people that you don't trust. I mean, they can't even come into your house. So firewall helps you manage all of that. And the other, so we've talked about the protocol. So this is where you have the type of protocol. You have you have a SFTP. Yeah, like for it's file transfer protocol. So you wanna transfer files, you can use that. You may have HTTPS, that's secure. Uh, Access to web applications over the internet, or you can have HTTP, which is not secure. It's only used for testing, and a lot of applications that you build, you assign that type of protocol to your container, but reroute it to HTTPS. Okay, so that's kind of like how the mechanism works, and the other thing is, um, each protocol comes with a type of port that you need to open specifically for that. What about SSH? Have you ever heard of SSH before?
Yeah.
What is it?
Secure shell protocol.
Secure Shell Protocol, and the port number would be?
On port 22.
Yeah, it's gonna be 22. Then you also have MySQL or SQL protocol. You have HTTPS, which is 443. HTTP, which is what?
Activity.
80. Yep. And then the list goes on. You see, so that's security groups. So security groups, you apply them to instances that you host in your private or public subnet. So that's at the level of an instance. So what about the level of a subnet? How do you control traffic? This is where we use what we call, I'm gonna put it here, an ACON. And I remember, I think it was you, Edmund. It's ACL.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a high level type of managing access.
Yeah.
Yeah. So something also to we've used that too, and we're gonna come back to this when we look at Kubernetes clusters in more depth next week. So we're gonna dedicate the next 2 weeks, about 2 weeks, to play with EKS, because on top of EKS, we'll be building the other layers to complete this program. And eventually, once we get to V10, you guys will just be experts. I mean, my point is to make sure that you guys get to a point where you don't have to open your notebooks, you don't have to read from any place, but you just have to, you can answer any question. So like you can wake me up this morning and say, hey, can you talk to me about networking? I mean, I may not give you all of the tools, but I know the concept. You know what? VPC, the concept of VPC on AWS, it's the same everywhere. Terminologies, they change, but the concepts are the same. I want to show you something here quick. So this is the book that I'm using for my AI. I don't know if you can see it clearly. So I'm using for my AI class, and for this class that you guys have been enrolled in, one book is also coming. So this is just, I purchased this one, I ordered this one or printed this one to make corrections first, and the IT career acceleration playbook is also coming. And when it comes, then I plan on having a series of kind of like live meeting with people and to just talk about my books. So I would like to talk about both. And then the other one that I'm working on, it's grounded in my story, my life story as a boy, but also using biblical principles to kind of like help somebody else in terms of prayer. I mean, how do you pray in a way that you can neurologically change yourself, physically, financially change yourself, financially improve on yourself as well as your emotions? I mean, how do you pray in a way that all of the laws that God has already established in this universe, they will become applicable to your life? You guys have heard of the law of attraction, the law of even the law of sowing and reaping. That's a natural law. So all of these laws, and I always tell people, you don't become a millionaire because you pray only. No. If it was so, then 95% of Africans on the continent of Africa would have been millionaires at this point. So you see, that's the reality. So there are systems that God created to govern the solar system, our galaxy, and all the other galaxies that exist out there. There are systems that govern how from birth, and how we age and grow. And if you don't understand those systems, you may die at the age of 55, because you don't understand that your body needs rest. When it's time to rest, you don't understand your body needs water when you need to hydrate yourself. I've seen Edmund doing that, and I'm hydrating myself with coffee in the morning. Yeah. So and there are systems that we cannot change. The law of the human body or the human physiology, like water in our body represents how much percentage of the weight of our human body. And if you don't understand that, you don't drink water, you only pray. You may die at the age of 33 if you're 33 or 31. But and then of course, culturally, some people would blame the devil. Some people would blame some relative from their village or someplace, saying, I'm not successful because of my father's sister. When as a child, she said that I would never succeed. So that was kind of like written in stone on your mind, and it goes into your subconscious. Whatever is behind or under your conscience, that's what defines your belief system. Your belief system is what governs who you are, how you relate to people, how you conduct yourself every day. And it determines even your performance in terms of your career, your dreams, and anything else. Without knowing or being aware that it was those words that your aunt had said to you, and which you decided to let sink into who you are. It's not her fault. It's on you. And that's why Romans 12:2 says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So you have to uproot anything, any thought that is limiting, that says to you that you cannot make it, you cannot do it. So, and then take all of those thoughts, make them captive to the obedience of Jesus Christ. So this is kind of like you begin first defining and stating who you should be really every day. That's prayer. And you do it in the name of Jesus and align that with scripture. Like in Christ, you can do all things, right? Because it's going to strengthen you. So you begin confessing and declaring. And once you do that, physiologically, neurologically, you're reprogramming your brain. So every old operating system in your brain, you're going to replace it with a new operating system. And you become a brand new person just by doing that. And when you do that, you're positioning yourself to experience blessings in life. And this is why when somebody would say, when I started doing this, then I begin I started receiving phone calls. People would just out of nowhere, they would just out of the blue, they would just give me a call and say, "Hey, Edmund, I've been looking for you. There's an opening for an engineer role at our company." To say, "What?" Yeah, and then you get the job. So that's kind of like the book that I've been working on, and it's also based on my PhD that I did with a university in Indiana. All right, so let's take a quick break, 5 or let's say 8 to 10 minutes. We come back. We'll finish up on what I wrote down here. So we're left with, we're going to talk about APIs. We'll talk a little bit about GitHub. We'll talk about Docker again, and we'll conclude with monitoring and observability. And I would like to add AI ops here, because that will be also part of the closing, the end of our program.
AI. You keep tickling us with the AI, like charming us with AI. You haven't, I keep order. I can't wait for that AI to be honest with you. Like what?
Yeah, actually, I'm working on a course. It's gonna be self-paced. First of all, let me share something here quick. This is something that I built, and I'll be sharing with you guys once it goes into production. So I built this. I built this week. It's part of my company, and the goal of doing this is to create something for people like in Ghana, in Cameroon, and they don't have $25. They don't have $35 to gain access to AI. So I'm setting this up. I've reached out to some people here in the US, celebrities and people who make money, who have a lot of money, to see if they can invest in me, in this vision. And at the end of the day, I just realized that, what, I can make it happen on my own. So using what I have and using the connections that I have with people, like I can sign in, and you can change it to different languages. So here is English, it's French, Spanish, and Portuguese. So if I do like French, it's French. And I already have an account. So I'll just log in here, because this is create. I don't want to create. So I just want to log in. This is just an example. So I'm in. So I've kind of like I decided to make it very simple. So you see here, like every day, I'm gonna put it back in English, back to English, So because I'm the owner of this platform, so I gave myself the freedom of sending like 2,000 messages every day. So you can test it. What is Transform to Succeed training company does Emmanuel on it? So we can do that. We can test it. So you see, it's
my son needs me. I apologize. They're having a party out there, and they need parents to be there. That's why I keep seeing me disappear.
Okay, that's all right. That's fine. So,
yeah.
So what I'm sharing with you here. It's something that once it's ready to uh, go to production. Uh, Anything that you can help me, because I'm gonna need ambassadors. Like so you say, hey, I think I can help with this. So the number, every time you bring in a customer, a user from back home, in Africa, of course, the US is also home, Canada is also home. Uh, and you also get, there'll be incentives. That's bottom line. And then I'm gonna need your help with this to once it's out in production, and it's gonna have the real website there, and just share with as many people as you can. So behind this, and even at this price, I'll still make some profit. But again, I want to do this for people who can't afford even $50 a month, but they still need to compete with the rest of the world. So that's my mission, and I would truly appreciate your help with this. I have questions. All right, if not, let's take a quick break, just 10 minutes, and then we'll be back and continue on. So I'll see you in 10.
All right, thank you.
The storm keeps raging, can't find my way. My head is heavy, drowning every day. I hear a whisper, through the night it breaks, a voice that tells me there's a brighter place. I lift my hands though my strength is gone. The word it holds me, it pulls me along through the valleys where my fears collide. Your light is shining, I can't run or hide. Troubled waters, they rise so high, but your truth cuts through every lie. The weight I carry, it starts to fall. Your promise echo, I can have it all. I lift my hands though my strength is gone. The word it holds me, it pulls me along through the valleys where my fears collide. Your light is shining, I can't run or hide. I hear you say, be still and know the chains are breaking, the pain lets go. From ashes beauty, you raise me new. I walk in freedom, I'll walk with you. I lift my hands though my strength is gone. The word it holds me, it pulls me along through the valleys where my fears collide. Your light is shining, I can't run or Espíritu Santo, ven aquí en mi corazón, haz tu vivir. No queremos actuar, solo amar. Fruto eterno, hazlo brotar. Crece en nosotros amor sin fin, gozo y paz que vienen de ti, paciencia y bondad, tu dirección, dominio propio, tu perfección. No es mi fuerza, es tu poder, es tu palabra que quiero ser. Un árbol firme junto al río, de tus frutos soy testigo mío. Crece en nosotros amor sin fin, gozo y paz que vienen de ti, paciencia y bondad, tu dirección, dominio propio, tu perfección. Muéstranos cómo vivir en verdad, cada paso en humildad. Guíanos, oh Santo Consolador, que todo sea para tu honor. Crece en nosotros amor sin fin, gozo y paz que vienen de ti, paciencia y bondad, tu dirección, dominio propio, tu perfección. Through the storms I find my peace, a whispered prayer my soul's release. Hope is here, it won't let go. It's the light through shadows woe. No matter what we face, it's the anchor in this place. With each breath I'll hold on tight, through the darkest endless night. The Lord is good, His love is near. My head dries every tear. On eagle's wings I rise again. Strength renewed time and again. Oh, no matter what we face, it's the anchor in this place. Darkest endless night, I'll rejoice, I'll stand my ground You part the seas, you calm the waves. You light the dark and heal the pain. Mountains bow and giants fall. You are the God who does it all. Nothing's too hard for the God who saves, breaking chains and empty graves. You move the earth with a single call. You are the God of the impossible. You breathe life where hope has died. You mend hearts that break inside. No storm too fierce, no night too long. You are the strength when we're not strong. Nothing's too hard for the God who saves, breaking chains and empty graves. You move the earth with a single call. You are the God of the impossible. Oh, lift your eyes and see His power. He reigns above in every hour. When fear surrounds and faith is small, He is the God who holds it all. Nothing's too hard for the God who saves, breaking chains and empty graves.
Hope everybody's back. So we're gonna continue on. Is everybody back?
Yes.
Okay, so moving on. Let's go back to our writing board here. And so that think everybody, you all have some understanding of this, right? And we need, this is how you organize your environment on the cloud, and the tools. We're focusing on AWS. The tools that we've used include IAM, we've used Knuckles, we've used ECR, we've used security groups, we've used ECS, we've used EKS, we've used DynamoDB, Subnet, VPC, and S3 bucket. That's kind of like what we've done to this point. So I'm gonna get rid of all of that. And when we talk about EKS, we'll be revisiting some of these resources. So now let's look a little bit at this here. I'm gonna just move it up. Okay, so let's talk about, for APIs, I mean, you all understand that A stands for application, and then P stands for programming, I stands for interface. So API is application programming interface, meaning it's what allows two applications to talk to each other. Okay. And when you hear services, when you hear application, it's kind of like the same with service. But in reality, a service is what you expose to the world. So that's a service. So you expose an application as a service because you want the rest of the world to access it. Any question? Okay. So then I'm gonna get rid of this and we'll come back to this when we talk about EKS. So GitHub, yeah, you use it for several things. So you use it for collaboration. You can also use it for CI/CD. And this is the section that we call GitHub Actions. GitHub Actions. So you can also use it as your single source of truth. So you use it for those three things here. So collaboration, you can use it for CI/CD, and you can also use it as your single source of truth. Meaning that if something is not on GitHub, then it doesn't exist. So does that make sense? If there's a developer working on an application and then they come on and they say you ask them, is this on GitHub? They say no, then it doesn't exist. So whatever is on GitHub exists. All right, so done with GitHub. We're gonna move on. So I'm gonna remove that. All right, so that's done. And let's talk about Docker. And we've already discussed that a little bit in more details early on. So when you think of Docker, Docker is very, very, very important. It is a way to virtualize your application and known as containerization. Containerization meaning that you use Docker and you write a Docker file. Writing a Docker file, that's the best practice. So you codify how you're gonna build your image. How to build your image. So how you want your image to look like, what you want it to look like. So you use Dockerfile to do that. I'm gonna move that here. So let's go back here. Okay. So this is Docker you use for containerization, and you can write a file to define how you want to build your image. So that's one thing. And now with Docker, you are able to orchestrate. So this is where we talk about orchestration. And you can do it locally, or you can do it on the cloud or on-prem. Okay. So locally, this is where you use Docker Compose. And on the cloud, this is where you use Kubernetes. Okay. On the cloud or on-prem. Questions? Okay. I'm gonna move this here. So the next thing is, and of course you orchestrate when you have more than one app, right? Or service. So the next thing that we need to talk to, and you guys have worked on, is what we call promotion. So you've moved from local dev and actually from local to cloud. That's what we've done. So I'm gonna get rid of this, from local to cloud. And you did that by using Docker. Any questions? Okay, so we've done that, and now once you build your image, it's after you build your image then you can orchestrate. Right? You orchestrate your images depending on how many apps and services you want to build off of that image. Here, this is where we talked about build. We talked about tag. Then we talked about push. So you use Docker command to do that. So Docker command 2 to do this. And this is where we talked about registry. And in our case, we talked about ECR. So you build, tag, push images to registry, any type of registry. And in our case, we've been using ECR. And once your images reside here, So this is where images reside. Once they are pushed there, this is where you use orchestration. And in our case, we've used the ECS so far, and we're gonna start working on EKS in a little bit more depth. So those are the tools that we use for production. Those are the tools that you use for companies and your clients. Knowing this is gonna make you job ready and also job ready. So I met with the class on Thursday yesterday, or 2 days ago, for the AI and machine learning systems engineer stuff. And one of the guys said, so Doc, so at what point can I apply for jobs? I say, technically you can apply for jobs anytime. But like for you guys, given that you're enrolled in this program, with ECS, you're job ready. You just have to be able to articulate everything that we have looked at from the beginning to the provisioning of ECS using Terraform. Yeah, you're ready, you're job ready. If you can provision your ECS clusters and access the web UI with no errors, no mistakes, you're job ready. You can apply for jobs. When you get to EKS, I want you to get there, because a lot of companies are moving here. They're moving to EKS. They're moving there because of Kubernetes. And why they're moving there, it's because Kubernetes will allow you to leverage AI, especially now, leverage AI. So, all right, any questions? Any of you have been following the World Cup?
Nah.
That's a sport. That's men's sport. That's men's sport. They
I'm
can
not.
easily give you heart attack. Like just watching people running with the ball up and down. This one take it, and then
I'm not a football fan.
if you support
So
one team
do
and
you see
then
Edmund is now
they beat them
scratching
up.
his head, saying, "Oh
Hmm?
God." Edmund is scratching his head, saying, "Oh God."
Yeah,
I mean, I hear you, ladies. Yeah, that's fine.
I'm not into.
when you even support one team, they end up beating them up really good, and then they get disqualified, and then you're left out another team like you don't even,
Africa.
So this thing can give you a heart attack. That's not good. I mean,
Yeah.
Okay. Any reaction to? Okay, Edmund, don't just react. Don't say anything.
No, I don't really watch TV, so
Yeah, I hardly watch
I don't.
TV.
Yeah, the World Cup. I follow the World Cup. I mean, to the letter. I mean, for me, it's just entertainment. But yeah, I was impressed with the American team last night. They did an amazing job. The level
yeah,
of
they always
the
do.
game.
I mean, like,
I mean, 4 years ago, they were not at this
Mhm.
level. Nope. So
yeah,
they
they're perfecting
defeated
themselves really good.
Paraguay like 4-1, I think. Yeah. Yeah, it was just I was impressed. South Africans, yeah. I mean, you've been following on what's going on in South Africa.
No, what's
Yeah,
going on over there?
they've been
Yes.
kicking out
All the
a lot of other Africans.
are supporting Mexico. Yeah, I saw that online.
Yeah,
What?
it's very for me. I watched the guy saying that you know what, people they have to. This is a black African guy saying people they have to understand our context. They have to understand why we're doing what we're doing. And then he said something that we have to stay united as Africans. And then I said, okay, so how will we stay united when you're kicking Africans out of your country? And then he added saying that they want us divided.
Yeah,
And then
who's
again,
there?
playing victims. I mean, I just don't like hearing somebody say it's because of this. That's why I didn't do that. No,
Yeah.
we have to own our responsibilities. We have blacks in the U.S., blacks in Brazil, blacks in the U.K. Who sent them there? Africans. We did. And then people would say, "Okay, it's the white people." No. We have to
Yeah.
own our own responsibility. We
yes.
sold our brothers and sisters because of money. Judas sold Jesus, our Savior,
Yeah,
his
betrayal.
brother, because of money. And then you want to blame the Romans, you want to blame the West. No. We just have to, people that they keep just blaming each other. You know, I always say this: no excuses, just make it happen. You want to get a job? Don't tell me, Doc, I don't have time. My child, who doesn't have children? I mean, a lot of people have children. We each have 24 hours a day. And then some people they say, okay, your youngest is like 14, so you have a little bit of freedom. I mean, do you know? You don't know me. You don't know what's going on in my life. So if I make things happen, anybody else can do the same. We have the same flesh, same blood, and for the sake of this group, same skin color, same heritage, right? So yeah, no excuses. I always tell even my daughters, saying, hey, just make it happen. Oh no, Dad, I didn't sleep well. Yeah, ask yourself, why did you not sleep okay last night? And make a change that so that what happened last night would never happen again. And that approach, you use it even at work. When something happens, don't use finger pointing approaches, saying, okay, who did this? No. Ask yourself, how did this happen? Don't become a victim. Because whatever happens to us, we are almost 95% responsible. Let's say you're broke today. It's because yesterday I used up my money.
That's right.
And people, they blame the economy, they blame the government, they blame this and that, they even blame the devil. And the devil himself looks at God and say, no, this is not me. This is on them. This is not, I didn't do anything. So it's, when we learn to own our responsibilities, to own our lives and say, this is my life. What I become tomorrow is going to be based on how I use my time, my resources, my life today. And it's, you mess up, say I messed up. I've messed up a lot. I'll tell you, I'll be honest here. I've used a ton of money to invest in me to learn what I'm teaching you today. And sometimes I look at that I always look at that as an investment. But for somebody else, it's like a mistake, the misuse of your resources. I've invested in a lot of technology, and because I know that 2 years from now, things will be very, very different. And also another thing that I watched yesterday, there's a guy, he works at Harvard University. He's one of the professors there. And he said that they're gonna start running tests this year, this month or next month, reversing aging. Yeah. So if these experiments are successful, what's going to happen is you'll still, on paper, you'll still be like 46 years old or 38 years old or 23, if any of you is 23. I wish I was 26. So on paper, you'll be like 26 or 36. But in your body, you're going to be like 21. So once, let's say that the experiments work, and then they make this as a product, a service that you and I can buy. And they claim to say that we can live up to 2050 or 2060 or even 2100. So we go to the 22nd century, something like that. So and then with the AI today, things will even go much faster, because you can run experiments in parallel very, very fast. Very fast.
That's dangerous, though. It's good and it's bad, because to me it's bad because in sense that you're going to have to inject something in the human system that will go against what God created the human system, how to function. So you're going to bring something new in my body so I can come back to that young age. Like, okay, Jermaine now she's 40 something. So now let her mix look like 35. So in order for me to look 35 physically, you have to inject something in me that would change things in me. So those kind of thing is good and it's bad the way God is seeing it. Let me get old and die.
Yeah, ethically, that's where a lot of people struggle, and also people may also struggle with, and this is the reason why Elon Musk is exploring how to make like the moon or Mars places where people can live, because 50 years ago, the span of life of people in the West was like between 65 and 75. And now it has gone up to like 75 to 90 years old. And that's because of technology, the advancements of technology. And not to be not to want to live forever, even though some people have been claiming that there is a way that you can defeat death and never die. But but that's like to the extreme. But the idea of expanding the span life, it's possible due to technology. Like uh, as I said, 75 years ago, people they only lived up to about 75 years old, and then they would die because they didn't have the infrastructure, medical infrastructure, technological infrastructure that we have today. Life now is a little bit much better. Like people in a lot of developing countries, their span of life is very short compared to what we have here in the West. So that's again because of the advancements that technology has provided in medicine and so on. So that's a good point. It's gonna challenge because in the Bible it says that we only live up to like 120 years old, right?
Yep.
But I
That's
don't
how
think
God created
we've
us.
reached that.
So we're
We haven't reached that yet.
meticulous. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
So
Few people are reaching that one.
I mean, I would like to get there so that I can do so much good here on earth. But the other challenge is resources here on earth. So if everybody was to live up to 120, so then we're gonna have a lot of people on earth, and that's why Elon Musk is pushing on the idea of like, hey, we need to create some other place, some place in the universe. It's just crazy. It's yeah, something to think about. I do listen to a lot of podcasts and I watch a lot of stuff because every time I'm done doing technology, I just want to forget about this stuff and focus on a little bit on me and fun stuff. All right. So here, once we learn Kubernetes, Kubernetes will be our runtime always. And our runtime is like your operating system for our platform. Okay. So when we start building, starting next week, we'll use Kubernetes to be our runtime. And then on top of that, so this will be like the foundation. So it's gonna be K8. Do you know why we call it K8? Any idea why we call it K8 at times?
So the number of letters
Yep, it's the number
in
of letters here.
in the word Kubernetes.
Yeah, and counting E only once. So if you count that, you should be okay. You should have 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that's when you have the 8. All right. So on top of Kubernetes, this is where we're gonna build. We're gonna build our monitoring and observability layer. On top again on this, we can add another layer, and this will be AI ops. So this will be like the intelligence layer. Intelligence layer. And this will be this will be our observability. So this is what we want to do next and finish the program. So we build a system. Everything will be hosted. So K8 will be, that's our runtime. Meaning this is where we're gonna build everything that we need. And then on that runtime, this is where we're gonna have our apps, right? We're gonna have our apps. We're gonna have the different packages that we need. We'll install on the K8 cluster, and then we're gonna have Helm charts, the cost management. So we're gonna integrate all of that. You know how to talk about this platform and how you did it. You're gonna get a senior role as an engineer. You are. This is very, very important. It's very important. You're gonna see the course repository. It's gonna look a little bit different before we meet on Saturday. And the AI ops, I'm gonna tweak it a little bit. But on top of this, once you're done with this, I'm gonna highly and strongly recommend that you do the AI systems engineer. I'm planning to create a self-paced course for that, so that you can learn every day. You have like 45 minutes to learn and add to this program here. But at the end of this program, you can get any type of job you want. You'll have skills that are in high demand. You'll have skills that will make any company or employer, when they see your profile, they would want to talk to you. And when you send them your resume, they will set up an interview right away. And remember, when you start applying for jobs, it's okay if an employer says no. And it's fine. It means that it wasn't your job. And after you go through some interviews, you have the right to ask, okay, why did you say no? Because you want to learn. You want to learn from how you performed during the interview, and then improve on yourself, so that the next interview you'll be able to ace it, instead of getting a no because of how you answered your questions, but you get a no because you're too expensive to be hired. I mean, I got in the past emails saying, I think our budget cannot, yeah, because I proposed my pay, and I went through some interviews, and they said that we can't pay you that much, yeah. And then I said, oh, that's fine. And I didn't want to beg or shrink because of, no, I said, that's okay. Because I know my worth, I know my value. So yeah, even if it was a good job, good pay, but don't just settle for less than what you're worth. Just keep that in mind, and people, they need to pay you based on your worth and the value that you will add to that team. Any questions?
So, are you, after everything, are you going to help with the like working on our CVs and, you know, how to structure it on our CVs and how to get a platform like in LinkedIn. Is it LinkedIn or Indeed?
That's going to be the plan. The plan would be to actually walk with you through your GitHub optimization, and then we'll create a LinkedIn profile in case you don't have one. I'll help you design and create your resume, and I'll show you how you can adapt, because when you apply for a job, don't use just one generic resume. You have to align your resume with the specific requirements for that desired or that specific job. Because some job, a given job may be for a DevOps engineer. They're looking for a DevOps engineer. That's right. But this DevOps engineer will be helping maybe standardize their CI/CD pipeline, okay, or pipelines, and so that will take probably 75% of your time. And on your resume, you have to make sure that you show that type of skill set. And when they look at your resume, they're gonna see that you have already done a lot of CI/CD related tasks, and you've done it successfully. So that'll be number one. And then when you prepare, before you prepare for your first meeting or first interview, yeah, you have to be ready to answer any questions related to, because they'll be asking questions based on their job description requirements and also based on your resume. So aligning your resume with the requirements would be, that's kind of like what I recommend strongly to students or mentees. And sometimes, interviewers may kind of like ask you questions that are like off topic, but still, I mean, off your, not based on your resume. So it's something like else. So make sure to be prepared also for that. And a lot of people, they say, okay, use the STAR approach, like a situation, then you have a task, you have a action plan, and then you have a result. So that's the STAR approach. Personally, to be honest, I don't use that, but I recommend people using that so that it gives kind of like an idea of what you did for a specific task and what the results were like, after you implemented the action that you applied to that. So you don't need to follow that process, but your answer should show that you did it, right? So it's kind of like a guide. Use it as a guide, not like this is a commandment or something like that. Yeah, so to your question, yes. So once we finish the AI ops, we'll start looking at how to optimize our profiles and so on online. All right, so did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sure, yeah. So I'm looking at, if we push it through fast, 4 weeks, you guys should be done. If we push it very hard, you guys should be done. So you started in February, right? You said February, March, April, May, June. So you're pretty much close to the end, the finish line. So we still have about 3, 4 weeks, we should be pretty much done, and then we start looking at resumes together, and then as well as LinkedIn profiles, and you guys start pushing out your applications. And then I mean, honestly, and because I've been doing this for quite some time now, we don't have a lot of women on teams. In IT, we don't have a lot of IT engineers that are females, that are female or women. So it's a great opportunity for you, Marie, Jermaine, and I know Edmund is gonna get his job, but you ladies, they'll be willing to bring you on board, actually bring you in very fast. But you just have to be prepared to answer the questions. And once we get to 4 weeks from now, I'll show you how you should answer any question. When they ask you a question, this is how you should answer. So use that approach and you should be set to ace any interview. And I'm always, I always find balance between being kind of like arrogant and being humble. So you have to find a balance, and that balance, that's what I call boldness. So you be bold to even say that this one I don't know, and but because I don't, even if I don't know it, it is because first of all, it's because I have never used it in a real work environment, but I'm a little bit familiar with it, and then try to explain the concepts behind that technology. But there will be instances whereby you just do not know, and it's okay to say I don't know. Teams that have a lot of people from India, it's a little bit tricky to get in. From my experience, companies that are diverse and they are really intentional about that, you get more chance of really getting a job. If you meet a team, I've met teams of like 4, 5, 6 people. They're all white, and usually even before I interview with them, before I meet and we discuss at the beginning of our interview, I always say, and then when you go to their website before the interview, you just look at the leadership team. I see like 20 people there. There's only one who looks like probably his family or her family are, they were immigrants. So the only one who's not Caucasian, and the rest, they're all Caucasians. So when I see that on their profile, on the website, company's website, automatically I say it's gonna be tough to get in. Because if a company is not intentional about bringing in people that do not look alike, all of them, then that's a cultural value that personally I don't condone. I don't support, because the U.S. is very diverse. Canada is very diverse. A lot of countries, even in Europe, are now becoming very diverse too. So if a company is not intentionally trying to integrate and invite engineers from other races, then that's don't join that company. I not long ago I worked with a company helping some of our clients set up some stuff in their environment. And so when you close your eyes and you listen to every team member of that other company, they all sound the same. They all sound Anglo American. And there were 3 people that did not sound like them. They did not last 3 months on the team. They did not. There was even a gentleman who actually came to the US like 3, 4, 5 years ago. He lost his job like in less than 3 months. He's French speaking. I mean, they let him go, and there was a guy originally from India. He left. His English was rough, but you know, when you look at that, and I tell myself I can't join that team, because for me, it's not just about knowing stuff. It's about knowing enough that me as a manager can train you to become the expert for whatever we hired you for, something like that. And but if diversity is not a value that the company lives by, it's gonna be tricky. And we'll talk more about some of these things to watch for before you even send your application in, because I don't want you to go into a job and then you will last only for 3 months or 2 months now. So better you go into a job, you join a company and do at least a year, because most contracts, they renew them after a year. So they just do it for a year. And if let's say you work for this company for a year and then the contract ends, you apply for another job, you're gonna reflect this company on your resume, right? As part of your one of the experience that you've had. And an interviewer asked you, why did you only work for that company for a year? There are many reasons a company that can let somebody go. Even if it was because you're new in this and you were learning, and they may probably end your contract because of your performance. Never say that it was because of that. Just say because the contract ended. It was for only 1 year. And that's why I'm looking for another opportunity. All right, anything else? All right, so friends, you're almost there. But what we start looking at next week, it's gonna be a little bit bigger. It's gonna be a little bit challenging. So be prepared, but there's nothing impossible. And once we jump into this, you're gonna really get a gist of how to build an entire platform, and using Kate to provision that everything, even leverage AI and machine learning. So I'll stop here, unless you guys have any comments or questions or anything to celebrate.
Next week I have a trip, but I will try to see if I can connect next week Saturday. I'll use my phone. I'll be there.
You have a trip next week?
Yes, to Wisconsin, but just by road. But I'll be on my phone, or maybe I'll just hotspot on my way with my laptop. I will see how it goes.
Okay. And so are we for Tuesday? Do we want to meet again, or do we want to get together on? Why don't we just meet on Saturday? We meet on Saturday this coming week, and whatever we cover on Saturday, then the following week on Tuesday we can review it. So what do you think?
That's fine with me.
Okay, so we'll try it at still at 5 Central Time, and that's okay with you, Jermaine. I know Edmund, you're not available at that point, right? On Tuesdays, 5 p.m. Okay, so we'll do that. Then we'll skip Tuesday next week, and Ryan, Nikki also here. All right, so I'm gonna call it for now. Let's keep in touch. You have questions, reach out. Review versions 1, 2, 3, 4, and also review the kind of like summary of concepts, documentation that I put on Slack. Have a good weekend. God bless, and let's talk sometime later. Okay, bye now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Manning.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
All right, thank you.
Have a good